Francesca, the Client Partnerships and DEIB lead at Thought. DEIB is important to me because it represents a commitment to creating a world where every individual has equal opportunities regardless of their background or identity. I believe in fostering an inclusive environment where diversity is celebrated, equity is upheld, and everyone's voice is heard, valued, and respected. Ultimately, prioritising DEIB is not only the right thing to do, but it also drives organisational excellence and long-term success in an increasingly diverse and interconnected world. Before we embark on our enlightening discussion, I'd love to give both Victor and Seb a moment to introduce themselves and for us to get to know our panellists a little bit better.
Thank you very much. I guess I will go. So my name is Victor. Everyone calls me B. My pronouns are he, him. I'm the head of engineering at HER. HER is a Flinta dating app for queer women. So our mission is connect every queer women in the world to help them find love and, in a safe space. Especially that is the focus we put on having those spaces for women in all the sense, in the broad sense. For us, it's very important to be like inclusive and intersectional, obviously. A bit about myself: Spanish, as everyone can say by my accent, cis by men, member of the London Bisexual Network. I try to do as much work as I can on advocating, education, and because I'm very passionate about it. And think about my career highlights. I would say like when I joined her and have the opportunity to lead the technology in not only a company with a product for queer persons, but a queer company, and start to be even living more myself day to day. I think that was one of the highlights of my career. Over to Seb.
Hey. Hi, I'm Seb or Sebastian. My pronouns are he, him. And I've been in tech, wow, 11 years now. Time flies. I've been through a variety of industries and companies and so on. I moved to UK almost 6 years ago now. And over the course of that time, I've taken part in, from speaking to podcasts to volunteering to so on and so forth. I try to dabble in spreading knowledge and helping others when and where I can. I don't have as an impressive position as V has, but yeah, it's the little things.
Thank you both. Now that we've set the stage, I want to delve into a range of important topics for the Essential Quest for the LGBTQIA plus community and inclusion. I want to explore these subjects to gain valuable insights for people to really, as you've kind of said, it's like all about fostering understanding and working towards that more inclusive and equitable world for all.
Pride, as the slogan goes, started as a riot. Pride Month is an opportunity to be explicitly seen and recognized and talked about. Even though Pride should be celebrated all year round, the 1 month is to explicitly point out all of the discrimination, all of the struggles, to talk about the history, and also to celebrate the diversity that is, well, humankind. All of the diverse thoughts and experiences that we have, and how we can move forward to be better in the future, essentially.
Our core values allows us to be even more, right? We participate on the principle of like we assume good intention. We give a space for people to identify themselves as they want. We do not run on assumptions. We are explicit about a lot of things. Like I get a habit of introduce myself with pronouns. This is a very silly thing, but this habit has been formed since I joined her. Previously, I did it more inconsistently, right? But that small thing opens the door for everyone to be able to everyone to feel that no one is gonna assume, no one is gonna go and make a mistake or anything, right? How we foster this as well in my professional network, I try to take people as they come. I I fight my own biases and all these questions that everyone has in their head
Mm.
as much as I can. I try to educate. I try to be curious as well. I mean, no one can know everything, and everyone can put their foot in their mouth from time to time, right? No one is immune to that. So I think like approaching inclusivity, diversity with like a good intention, with a good intention and intentionality to be diverse, fostering them and not doing it for a PR stunt is always what I said. I said as well that respect and moving
Mm.
from like the language that alienates non-conforming folks particularly, because it's very very easy to fall for all ways of saying like gender language assumptions that everyone here, and then I'm extremely vocal about these things. So I mean I'm in a position right where I have a lot of responsibility as a head of engineering, so it's my job as well do this. But even out of my job in my day-to-day life, I try to do a bit of bystander every time I feel like I'm safe, that I'm not going to be obviously physically in danger or bringing like damage or whatever. I try to be a bystander, not be a bystander by any means in any kind of discrimination. I think that creates the example, that creates the movement that people, can feel they can be themselves, that they know that they are not unprotected, that they are gonna be able to be themselves, speak, and live as they want.
What makes a strong ally is quite diverse, because essentially allies are there to assist, to support, to uh, basically, when you have a person speaking up around injustice, especially if it is a historically marginalized person belonging to a historically marginalized group, they are not always listened to. So an ally is there to add their voice, to say that, hey, listen to this person. They know what they're talking about.
Mhm.
So what I mean by the allyship is diverse is because it could be as little as pressing like on a LinkedIn post. It could be going marching in the parade. It could be pointing out discrimination at workplace. There are many different flavors to allyship.
Mm.
There is no one size fits all, because not everybody is safe to go march in the parade. Not everybody is safe to make social media posts. So there are things like this that have to be considered. When it comes to workplace, there is, as I mentioned, you could have a coworker speaking up for you or with you. Uh, there's also corporate allyship, which includes things from sponsoring floats in the Pride Parade to inclusive policies to make sure that any and all kinds of discrimination and bullying and so on is taken seriously in the corporate workplace. So it's not a silver bullet, but I think a good rule of thumb is listen to the people. If the people in your company or in your community are saying, I don't feel like I'm heard, a good way to help them out is elevate their voice, support them. If they say, I don't feel safe, how can you help them feel safer? So on and so forth. So, yes, listen.
Psychological safety, as I said, should be practiced, should be encouraged by setting the example and giving like everyone the space to be able to say like, and the privacy as well. Like, I'm not feeling like today I can do this, right? When you have a psychological safe environment, people tend to open up about their mental health more with their managers or in public. I mean, that's everyone's choice, right? No one needs to be go saying like, I'm having a bad day, I'm taking off, right? But they can count that their manager or their team, they're gonna understand, because they that psychological safety that no one is gonna judge, not gonna is gonna think less of them because they are feeling bad, right? With respecting religious practices, specifically around the question of cultural diversity, this is like everything, right? No one should question anyone's cultural background. No one should question people's authentic self, and no one should question everyone's religion. Everyone has the freedoms, not only is free by law, but I think as a human decency, no one should challenge or discriminate or attack or bully anyone for any of these reasons. So, and then obviously there is like some legal requirement that I think is there, as I was talking, these strong boundaries, right, to ensure that the things are put in place to protect these people about diversity, about culture, about religion. Everyone should be like not tiptoeing around it, not trying to go around it for anyone, but embracing it and make it part of the culture. Celebrating diversity in all the facets is probably the key success for a business in this time and place in the world.
So somebody that is trans, I can say that the bare minimum nowadays is, pronouns. It is not excluding people. It is, I've seen D&I groups do presentations of we need to hire more female engineers, which is immediately exclusionary and not to mention plain out sexist. There's a lot of these little things that add up. Um, it is around language, as I mentioned, but it is also from the previous questions about advocating, about being an ally, because not everybody has the mental capacity to be a part of the DNI committee and has the mental capacity to advocate themselves or educate others. Because that is a big part of what is missing from this whole conversation that we have in society around inclusion and diversity. People are saying, yes, so always introduce yourself with your pronouns. Yes, make sure that you don't use hey guys in a mixed to a mixed crowd and so on. But nobody addresses the why. Nobody addresses the education of why should we use pronouns? Why should we not use, this word, or why should we talk about that topic and so on? People keep putting in the rules without explaining the why, and as a result, you get backslash. You get people like, "Oh, this is stupid policy. I cannot be asked to put my pronouns next to my name in Slack. Like, why should I do that?" So, long story short, advocation again, education and advocation, and don't assume because people look wildly different. What do you think, Victor?
In that company from the very beginning of the funnel, when you are thinking about how to create that diverse environment, setting the right policies as well. So making for especially for trans and non-binary folks easy when you ask, for example, documentation about identity. Oh, but you introduce yourself as Jane, but this paper says other thing, right? All these things obviously destroy the psychological safety of the workplace for that person. And then as well, I think like everyone should be able and have the agency to obviously self-identify when they want to. I've seen this in companies where a non-binary or a trans person has been hired and that has been shared with the rest of the team beforehand. So I think like having a very strong like people policy about like, look, we want everyone here. We want you to belong, to enjoy your life, right? But also give the agency because I mean there is people that they will not maybe feel comfortable to come to a room with another 10 people and everyone knows that they're already trans or non-binary, and then it plays that advocacy, that education of everyone to fight their own biases, right, to the employees, what Se was talking. But I think that starts, a lot of it is like policy, and making sure that from the very beginning, in even not hiring but interviewing, you are not going with assumptions, you are not asking the questions, or even that, as I said, the assumptions and biases are terrible, and controlling your own reactions is a trained skill. You have to train yourself, like, because everyone has biases, right? So it's important to get people as they can, don't show surprise, or comments like, I'm not even trans, I'm bi, but I get the comment of like, huh, you don't look like bi. I'm like, well, excuse me, how should I look? I'm wearing a pin. I wear my pin for obvious reasons a lot of times, right? But on my day-to-day life, not always wearing it. But that's those comments as well with non-binary folks and with like trans. I see them, and people, and in the other side, people with uh, working or having interaction with non-binary, where they have questions like, oh, I don't know how to address them. I don't know what they are pronounced. What if I do this? It's like, look, what you need is education. It piles on that, having that advocacy, that education, and then a strong policy and set of practices as a corporation.
There are so many resources out there that can give you a base list to start building on. It could be, as I mentioned, as somebody in the interview process, it could be as small things of give outline or full-on questions ahead of time, give extra interview time. After hiring, it could be explicit in your communications, set intermediary deadlines, additional check-ins. There's a whole swath of different reasonable accommodations that might only take like 5 minutes a day. It's not a big impact for the people around, but it can be, wholly changing the experience for the employee. And of course, again, as previously mentioned, education. Gotta know why. If people know why, they're able to help out more. They're able to, be more inclusive.
You go ahead.
All right. As mentioned, education. We are here. We're speaking out. We are speaking up. As mentioned, both Victor and I have taken part in previous events. We've been on podcasts, we've done separate events, and so on. It includes going in the companies that you're currently employed at, companies you are in touch with, outreach to communities, so on. But yes, education. Speak up, speak out, and say, look, we are cool. We did this cool thing. You can do it too.
Yeah, I think as well, on top of education, because you will never ever have enough of it. I would say, like, intentionality about it. This year, Pride, especially. I haven't seen in the UK anything, but in the US, a lot of places they are like, we are not putting the rainbow logo because it's political. And it's like, of course, it's political. Everything is political. Everything we do in society is political in one way or another, right? So I think that on top of education, I think it's a moment of involved activism, like being in the capacities of everyone. And not everyone has a platform. Not everyone is invited for these things to just put your thoughts out and try to share and educate, right? But activism can be done in so many levels. Activism is talking in the over the coffee machine in the office about like why the company should go to the parade, or how employees should form a resource group, or why it's not okay, misgender someone, or why is or calling someone for a homophobic or any phobic joke, on the workplace. I think we are starting to live turbulent times, especially for the community in general. At the moment, UK is deciding to target trans people as the root of all evils, obviously, because when something goes wrong, it's the minorities, right? And I said this, like, now is the trans, but these people that were doing it are the same ones that they were doing it back in the 80s with gay people. And before it was immigrant, and before was like other things. So I think like that intentional activism in the everyone's capabilities, right? I do not recommend anyone doing anything that they don't feel safe and comfortable to do, but it's time to speak up if you can, especially if you are a privileged individual like myself. Do it. I will say to everyone out there, do it, take the steps, fight for the community, fight for diversity. The things that they are won, they are not safe forever. The society changes, people comes and goes, and now we are under assault in so many fronts. So please, the most important about this is like education. Educate yourself, educate the people, and then involved activism at any level.
Well, I would like to thank you both for answering all of my questions, for joining me in this quick conversation. Both of your presence and engagement really symbolises our shared dedication to building a more inclusive and diverse future for all. Together, let us embark on this meaningful journey, united in our commitment to create a world where every individual is valued, respected, and where everyone can live authentically themselves. Thank you both.